One. Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast. We are back live on the YouTube. We are here for the Anime League season finale. We like doing these live podcasts at the end of the year because they're more fun. You get to see us interact. And for the true number one reason, we like to give our editors Justin. Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast. We are back live. We like to give our editors Justin and Byron a break, especially at the end of the year.
Thank you for the break.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So we will not waste any of your guys' time. You guys have been following us throughout the entire year with the podcast and this anime league during the summer. So let's just get right into it. Last one, talk about what's going on in your stuff. Nikki said he wanted to kick us off. So Nikki, if you would, man, take it away, brother.
Yes, sir. Man, I like to keep it short and sweet, so we just got a simple, short story today with the team of youngins. So, in my world, there's only one kingdom left, and that's the kingdom of Melromark, led by the queen, Melromark herself. And in this world, she's got two orphaned youngins, basically her vassals, most likely to be her princes, in Boji and Tokiyuki. And they're about, I'm pretty sure they're both like 8. So talk about young. And they proceed to be trained by Hakuro, who is basically their sensei, their Jiraiya. He teaches them swordsmanship. And their training is a little bit different because neither of them are strong at all. They're kids. No superhuman strength, nothing like these other animes. But what they got speed and precision. So he's teaching them that. And they go out exploring, hunting in the forest, training essentially, and they run into a mysterious figure out in the middle of the nowhere. And while they're there, all of a sudden, swords appear everywhere. And they get into a battle, and it's revealed to be Mifune, a traveling swordsman, or should I say, an assassin, who reveals he's there to take out the young vassals at the order of someone who no one knows about. Again, we're in kind of like an apocalyptic world. Who could put out a hit for somebody? And unfortunately, Boji and Hojo are unable to take him out. He proves to be too strong. But luckily, their sensei, Hakuro, is there and deals with him swiftly. And after being defeated, takes him back to the kingdom in front of the queen. And the queen, she's smart. She knows how to play the game. She talks to the assassin and gives him the choice, death or serve her. And Mifune chooses to serve her. He ain't got a death wish. And so now, each of the boys can have a one-on-one tutor. So Hakuro takes over the training of Hojo, and Mifune begins to train Boji. Also, there's Ayaka. She's just support. She's there because she's the same age as both the boys. And she's kind of like their muscle, their power of the group. And training is going on for a while. And then all of a sudden, there's an attack on the kingdom. And so the boys are sent out there to get a grip on the situation. Both Hakuro and Mifune are out protecting the citizens. So the boys, they're doing their job. They're out protecting the citizens. and they run into a figure with a spear, and they hadn't encountered an enemy with a spear before, because at this point they've trained with swords and beasts, and their first villain they encountered, Mifune, was also a swordsman. And so they go to attack him, and they're running into difficulty because this guy, Maz, he's got speed and he's got strength, and he's using a spear, something they've never fought before. And the boys are struggling, and there's no hope in sight until the kingdom's brilliant scientist, armorer, you know, she's like the voice of reason. She's their scientist, their Dr. Vegapunk, if you're hip to One Piece. Bulma. She arrives with her newest invention, a gravity anchor trap. Pulls up with the capsule, throws it to the boys. Boji catches it. He can't speak, so Hojo has to speak. And so Hojo acts as a distraction, and Boji's able to throw it and essentially freeze Maz in place so he couldn't move anywhere. And with their combined attack, we're able to subdue him as well. And we come to find out no civilians died due to Mifune and Hakuro taking care of the village while it was under attack. And so Maz is brought before the queen. And instead of giving him the chance to join the village, she essentially offers him exile or death. And he chooses exile. And so they ship his ass to Timbuktu, basically. They're working on rebuilding the village. While nobody died, there were injuries. And who do we pan to? Our boy Dende, working OT, using his Namekian powers to heal the civilians and the soldiers who participated in the defense. And now, you might be wondering why it's post-apocalyptic. There's really only one kingdom left. Well, fast forward 6 months, everything seems to be peaceful, quiet, everybody's living happy, training. There appears on the horizon Kaiju number 10. And if you don't know anything about kaijus, most of them are mindless. But this one, he's not mindless. He can speak, he can act, he has feelings, and he is here for death and battle, and that is all he's looking for. At the prime of his being, at the core of his being, I should say. He's here strictly to duel the toughest. And what's he do? Blows down the gate, starts wreaking havoc in the village. The young princes, they show up. They try their best. Ayaka's there. She tries her best. They ain't shit. They can't do anything against him. He's too big. He's too powerful. And so appears Hakuro. And Mifune can't do nothing because he's got to protect the civilians fleeing from all the just pure debris flying from Kaiju number 10 destroying everything. And so, Hakuro shows up. He essentially takes over. And the battle's raging. It's deadly. It's intense. It's Dragon Ball Z intense. They both step back, preparing for their final attacks. Kaiju number 10's taking on a sword to match his enemy. Hakuro prepares for his final attack. They clash head to head. And next thing you know, Hakuro's dead. And Kaiju number 10, standing victorious, informs them he'll be back. He'll be back. He hopes that there's someone else who can give him a thrilling fight. So, RIP to our boy Hakuro. He dies. Now it's just Mifune left to train the three youngins. And he does. And in the background, now that Hakuro's dead, Queen Melremark. She's got a strange tool. She's got a strange power. She opens up a portal to a different universe. And out appears Ben Tennyson. And he's looking around. He's like, where am I? He's like, what's the situation? And she explains, you know, their white knight basically is dead. They've got this crazy strong enemy that they can't take out and that they need help. And Ben informs them he's the best in the galaxy, damn it. Best in the multiverse. He'll do it. He'll fight for them. You know, so he checks up. The first stop he makes, actually the first person to see him is Bulma. And you know, she sees that thing on his wrist. She's asking him questions about it. She wants to harness that power if she can. So he's basically got to fight off Bulma and talking to her. And then, you know, Dende's healing people. Unfortunately, he can't heal the dead, so that's why Hakuro stays RIP. And basically, Ben goes hunting for the kaiju. You know, there's no point in him waiting for our two young princes. It's not their time. They won't be able to do anything. So he takes up the mantle of fighting the fight for the kingdom. He goes out there, finally finds kaiju number 10, just chilling. And they engage in battle, man. Deadly battle. You know, Ben had to bring out Alien X in order to defeat kaiju number 10. You know, and before he killed kaiju number 10, he asked him who his creator was, and all he said was, Stewie. The end. Come back next year for more.
Good stuff. Good. Good stuff. Nikki, your choice. Who you want to pass it to?
Good question. Man, let's go with the OG producer. Let's go with Justin Ackendale.
All right, next up, Mr. Aki.
Me? All right. Let's see what we wrote here. All right. So, no, I didn't do season 2. No continuation of season 1. I started it over. I'm doing a new story, new vibes here. Actually took a little bit of time to write some shit down, so it's going to be coherent and make a little bit of sense. All right. Texas has always been a place of strong American values entrenched in Texas culture, freedom, land, football, the Second Amendment, beer. All been staples of Texas since the inception of the state. But what happens when a small Texas town is infused with Japanese culture and doesn't clash with the current culture of Texas? Well, that's what happened to Arlen, Texas, and Hank Hill doesn't quite know how to handle it. Hank Hill, sales rep for Strickland Propane and Propane Accessories, has lived in Arlen, Texas his entire life. He recently had to take in his brother G.H. Hill after Hank's father, Cotton, recently passed away. Cotton passed away at the age of 86 years old. G.H. is only 16 years old. That is correct. Cotton had G.H. at the tender age of 74 years old. Raised by a Vietnam War veteran father and a second, much younger wife of Cotton, Dee Dee Hill, Hank had to take over raising GH after his father's passing. Hank had more than he was expecting. Arlen has recently been undergoing some changes. Over the past 5 years or so, Arlen has experienced an influx of Japanese immigrants. One of those immigrants, Hank's across the alley neighbor, Soy Fong. Hank highly admires Soy Fong. They became good friends, with Soy Fong being a former military in Japan. Hank and Soy Fong surprisingly had a lot in common. They both had strong moral values that didn't clash too much. That was until Soy Fong's little cousin, Hais Nagato, arrived on the scene. Nagato was a very annoying little girl. Around the same age as GH, they spent a lot of time together. Nagato's extensive judo background and peppy personality brightened up the alley and put the belt to ass when GH stepped out of line. GH had the tendency of saying misogynistic things, a bad habit he inherited from Cotton. Nagato was always around to hip toss him back into place. Not all Hank neighbors shared the same values he did. Hank, the devout Christian, was very uncomfortable when Seiko Anise and her granddaughter Momo Anise moved in next door. The Anise family for generations had the ability to see spirits normal humans could not. Seiko herself, a spirit medium, has the ability to communicate with all sorts of ghosts and demons and things along those lines. When Hank first heard of this, he was mortified. He barred GH from going over to the Anise household. Hank did his best to avoid interactions with Seiko as much as possible. Abnormal situations began happening in the neighborhood since the niece's arrival. Hank did his best to ignore this and keep living his regular life, but Hank finally had to break down and ask Seiko for help when the abnormal situation ruined Hank's long. Seiko surveyed the situation one night at Hank and realized she would need help with this situation. There was a demon that lived under Hank's lawn. That demon was Sishio. For some odd reason, Seiko was able to denote that years ago, Sishio was burned alive where the Hill residence currently sits. Apparently, he was dormant until the recent Japanese immigrants started inhabiting Arlen. Seiko and Momo tried to take care of this demon themselves, but were quickly overwhelmed and realized they needed help. Hank at this point was willing to do anything to save his long, and the house from being possessed by this demon. Seiko assembled a team that she could trust to exorcise Sishio. This team consisted of Benny Shinamaru, Kanduro, Asaragi, Rudo, and Nico Robin. The team battled Sishio for 30 straight days. On the 30th day, Kanaro, who's actually a demon hunter in her life in Japan, finally was able to exorcise Sishio. Seiko and Momo thought that he could be redeemed, but the rest of the group was not going for that. Hank could not be more happy. 2 days after the battle, everyone met at the Nice residence to celebrate the victory. That's it.
Okay, Aki. Okay. Man, threw me for a loop starting in Texas. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was supposed to be just a slice of life, but niggas ended up mixing. I had to do something with this year. I was starting writing. I was like, oh fuck, how we going to get this problem in here?
No, I like that. You didn't. That was really good. That was really, really good.
Thank you.
All right, Aki, pass it along. Who you want going next?
We'll go Cedric. Cedric, you go.
Wholesome old me. I got a little story to tell. Just a little one. So we're going to do an isekai with all these people for my team. Idea said it's 13 episodes first core. I do feel like there's more to be told of this group. But seeing as Nightfall at Crescent Blood Academy is like, if you're thinking of imagery, it's a giant castle, much akin to Harry Potter. As far as largest and scale, gray, some white buildings here and there, naturally next to an area of wooded area. There are a lot of different places for people to be lurking and being about. As we're at Nightfall, a portal ring opens and drops in Misogi Kumagawa. Confused but intrigued, Usogi wanders about the academy. As he's wandering through the different corridors, through the different halls, he thinks to himself, now this place could use some livening up and some fun. Screen then cuts to black. Sun rises on a classroom filled with multiple people. An odd blue ball jumps up, changes form into a blue-haired person. It's Rimuru Tempest introduced himself, saying, "Welcome to class 3-2. I'm your homeroom teacher, Rimuru. The goal of the academy is to prepare you all for the coming conflicts in your worlds." As he starts to talk, an intercom abruptly interrupts as a voice of ego rings over the speaker, saying, "Whether it's for better or worse, this is to help develop the vast nature of your abilities. Here at Blood Crest, we do not care about the confining views of good or evil. We are here only to promote the growth and what we believe will help you navigate all these views in the best way to cultivate that growth. How you influence your world will depend on your progression here." And the intercom cuts off. Rimuru takes back over, asks what each person hopes to gain from their time at the academy. Over a length of silence, Fern reluctantly raises her hand. She states her goal is to become a master mage and be able to preserve the things she holds dear to her. She said that through her time in traveling with Freewind, her curiosity has continuously grown about the length and the possibilities of magic. Then cuts to young Yogiri Takato. He takes off his headphones, reluctant to raise his hand. He states, "I don't really understand this whole conflict stuff. I'm just here and I just hope to make some friends." Sid Kagano raises his hand next. Through a stuttering statement, claims that he honestly doesn't know why he is here. He is supposed to become a knight able to help his family. Secretly, in his mind, while no one's listening, he is hoping to gain information about the inner workings of the academy and find out the person who brought them there, because they may be the key to finally allowing him to spread the knowledge of Shadow Garden throughout the multiverses. As classes and courses break, we pan through the hallways of Bloodcrest Academy. We see two more protagonists. Vivi is wandering around trying to find her way around the school. Wang Ling is looking at his cell phone and noticing that he doesn't have reception today. Shogo Makishima discusses that he doesn't understand why he was brought to this world, but he needs to return to his world. He sees a piece of literature with a moving figure. As he keens in, the camera pans to a small man that stops in his stride, looks over at Shogo, puts his finger to his mouth in a shushy motion. Next thing Shogo knows, he's fallen into this book. There's Hero X introduces himself, hands him a cup of tea as they both sit together and discuss their displeasure with the feeling like captives in this world, being brought here against their will. They decide to make a pact, or a team. As we see this book just strewn on the ground, Snarfton strolls around the halls, a nervous wreck, not really knowing what is going on, or where Lion-O or the rest of the Thundercats are, or why he is even chosen for this academy. Ego, catching him on the cameras, is also baffled that this type of creature is here, but he kind of shrugs it off, saying, like, well, the academy knows best, I guess. We then see Hiei walking the halls. He is discussing how he is hired to monitor the daily lives by Sid Kagano. He believes that Sid is not naive enough to trust all of these people with their own agendas. That everyone here may have a mission or a missive, and naturally being able to transport other beings to and from universes is something that, left in the wrong hands, could be truly abused. So for weeks of courses and instructions, they go on various missions with various different team compositions, stopping disasters throughout the multiverses. You know, the whole positive thing of how we're team building in here, and people actually start to like each other for a little bit. As they're conducting these missions, he comes closer to unveiling more of Eagle's plan. He sneaks into the data center of the academy, hacks the system, finding the proposal of a final mission called Project Restructure. The details of the plan haunting to his mind, he neglects to report them to Sid. As he is pulling away from the computer, Shogo is now in the room. He tries to maneuver and evade, but at each turn he is sucked into Hero X's ability. Once cornered, he inquires of who they are and why they are pursuing him. Naturally, in his mind, still trying to gather intel and feign the amount of information that he had just learned. Hearing that they are both trying to find ways to return to their respective worlds, he gets a plot in mind. To use them to further his own goal of returning. Naturally, never really truly trusted Sid to have his interests in mind, but in his mind, less is more, as in the less work he has to do to get to where he needs to go, better off for him. He chooses to reveal what he knows to them of Eagle's plan. As he is released from Hero X's ability, he departs from the academy. Camera in the corner of the room rotates and moves as the camera cuts to a blacked out figure and a muffled voice states, "Now we're getting somewhere." Shogo and Hero X debrief about what they should do, both taking differing approaches. Shogo wanted to immediately and openly confront Ego about what he had discovered. Hero X wanted to take a more passive approach by leaking the information to the academy, in belief that the others there are more aligned with him in trying to get home. As they are arguing about how to conduct which plan, an announcement comes over the intercom, and it's Rimuru Temperance coming through the speaker, indicating that Ego has been murdered in a confrontation with Shadow from Shadow Garden. At this time, of course, not everyone knows that Shadow Garden and Shadow is Sid Kagano. The news then alerts of Eagle's plans that get leaked. As everyone is shocked, the immediate panic of, "I need to get home, back to my own world," starts to spread. Rimuru does his best to calm everyone, saying that he will do his best to help everyone get home, but there still is that greater goal for the greater good in mind, that we need to save these universes. Naturally, this splits the academy into some factions. People willing to trust and people not willing to trust. Immediately we see Vivi and Sid leaving the academy. As they are leaving, Hero X appears with Shogoro. Yogiri starts to leave, but a hand grabs him on his shoulder. As the camera turns to the classroom, it's Misoji. He is there urging him to stay, stating, "You came here for friends, and we are all going to be friends. Don't leave the academy to where you found all your friendship. Eventually, we'll all get back home. We just all have to work together." Wang Ling, Fern, and Snarf also gather around. Yogiri ends up staying. As we cut back, Vivi, Sid, Shogoro, and Hero X disappear into nothing. Rimuru, Fern, Wang Ling, and Yogiri say as they start to discuss their options. As the camera splits to both factions meeting, the screen starts to widen to Hiei in the distance. He opens his phone and reads a message. "Your debt is fulfilled." He closes the phone and then proceeds to walk into the darkness. Rimuru and Fern put together a plan to review the magical resources in the academy to find a way to get everyone home. As they continue to complete missions, they keep the verses intact. Hero X is then seen going over their own plan. The idea is to implement some of Eagle's plan to return everyone back home. In the plan, they are discussing the multiple ways to get everyone back to their universes, stating, "The multiverse is its own issue. We all have our own loved ones to take care of and to watch." As this fades back, we cut to the woods. We see Shogoro walking in the woods alone, by himself, in the fall of night. As we hear branches and twigs snapping, Misoji comes out of the woods. They start to argue. Naturally, you would think about the two different factions' sides. One wanting the focus to be everyone going home, the other one stating we need to keep the universes intact. They're arguing about who killed Ego and who let Shadow Garden go, because it was not time for that plan for Ego to leave and Ego to be dead. He still had use in the plan. They start bickering louder and louder. Eventually, a mouth-like substance cracks open on the ground. As it spreads, darkness avails. From there, a voice rings out, "Silence, children." So you see a Sosuke Aizen crawl and ascend out of the ground, stating, "This is all a part of the plan." That is the end until Core 2.
Sosuke Aizen. Good stuff. Good stuff, Cedric. All right, Cedric, pass it along. Who you want going next? Justin's gone, and Nikki is gone, and you have gone, so go ahead.
Come on, Captain, man. You gotta be the Captain Byron.
From one founder to another.
Yeah, one founder to another. All right. So season 3, it is a 23 episode season, produced by Toei Animation. It is a 5-year time skip after the end of season 2, which actually ended in a cliffhanger. So we made the ending into a movie between season 2 and season 3, where we see the defeat of Yuhu Baha. There are rumblings of a new evil power coming into power, who will later be confirmed to be Toneri Otsutsuki. All we know is that Kevin Mask works for him. New class of monsters have been showing up recently, so a new generation of heroes must stand up. Shinra Kusakabe, who has the ability to have flames come out of his feet. Lucy Harphilia, who uses magical keys. Yuzuhira, who's an expert ninja. Ryo Sanada, who's a samurai who can control flames. And Ming Byung-gyu, who is the healer of the group. Their mentor is Knuckle Duster, who is a bare knuckle brawler, who occasionally goes out on missions with them. The first half of the season is the Kevin Mask arc, who, like I said before, works for Tonari, and is also the son of Master Masculine, one of the villains from season 2. He will work with anyone that can help him get revenge for the death of his father. Along the way, they gain new team members, Soshihiro Hoshina, who's a twin sword and close quarter combat expert, Ken Okurun Takakura, who can turn into a demon, and Raven, who uses dark magic. At the end of episode 10, they defeat Kevin Mask, but it comes at a cost because Knuckle Duster is killed by Kevin Mask. Ming tried his best to heal Knuckle Duster, but his injuries were too grave. At the start of episode 11, we see that Toneri makes his official appearance because his top general died, and he fast-tracks his plan to continue Yuhu Baha's plan and refine the Black Star Dragon Balls. They meet Mr. Terrific, who was friends with Knuckle Duster, and they had a pact that if Knuckle Duster ever fell, he would be the mentor to the group of new heroes. So the last half of the season is the Toneri arc and his defeat.
No, good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right, Byron, who you passing it along to?
I am going to pass it to Andrea.
All right. I do apologize if my voice sounds a little icky. I'm getting over a cold. I took a page out of Justin's book, and I went completely different, very new, all new characters, and whole new story. I would say my anime is a little bit combination of like Sherlock Holmesy misadventures set to Victorian England on one of the back streets that's not necessarily the best, but it's not quite, Whitechapel level bad either. Our main our story is animated by Studio Bones, and here, let me put my notebook in front of me so I can have my face towards the camera. We're following the first episode starts following Elizabeth Ethel Cordelia Midford. As her name suggests, she is a noble lady. She's on her way down to the apothecary. She has family ties to the area. Her cousins or an extended relative's family owns a nearby smithery, the Rockbell family. And so she and her family used to go by the smithery fairly often and got to know the local apothecary right next door that was owned by Flora. So one day she's there with her bodyguard Bubbles on her way to the apothecary, and they stumble across a murder scene. It turns out that a kind of mysterious figure, nobody really seemed to know him, had been killed in the early morning hours in the smithery, inside of the smithery. It didn't seem like there was a break-in. However, that's kind of the whole situation, that they come up across a murder scene, and now they're being introduced to all these investigative characters, one of which is Detective Tamaki, and the police chief, Obi, Akitaro Obi, is also on the scene to help, process the whole scene. Elizabeth, or Lizzie, as she's called, comes across a new character who came to work at the apothecary fairly recently, whose name is Mau Mau. So at the murder scene, there was a powdery substance kind of observed all over the place. The police force were unaware of kind of where it came from, what it was, how it was created. And that's kind of where Mau Mau starts to, if you guys are familiar with Apothecary Diaries, she just kind of goes off. She doesn't wait to be told. She mutters to herself kind of what possibilities things could have been, derived from the situation. She just starts going. Lizzie observes this and is really intrigued by her knowledge, and comes to find out that she does work at the apothecary. So she would have met her in just a couple more, steps along her normal route. So basically the overall anime is, we're trying to figure out, who Inuyasha was, why was he murdered, is there a connection between this and other crime scenes that come about throughout the different episodes. Later on, we end up with Seiko Tanaka having been attacked, and a new character from the area named Lolan was a witness. So the main group that we follow are Mau Mau, Lizzie, Bubbles, since she's Lizzie's bodyguard, and then Lolan joins the group. We come to understand after interactions with Detective Tamaki and Police Chief Obi that there is a fairly prevalent crime boss in the area by the name of Chisaki, but they're not quite sure that they can actually pin all of this to that organized crime organization. And then we get to cut into one of the further later episodes, conversations between Chisaki and a mystery second leader. So we don't know who this is. They're having a conversation about how, unfortunately, the first murder, being Inuyasha, was a total fuck up. Inuyasha was not the mark. They were actually going after Flora. We don't really know what the motivation for that is at that time, but this introduces that secondary leader that we as the audience don't know who it is. So with the girl gang basically being mostly Mau Mau for the brains, Lowlin is pretty good at keeping up when it comes to figuring out clues and piecing things together. But Lizzie is just kind of hanging around because she's a bored noble and she likes Mau Mau. They come to realize that they're needing a little bit more expertise And things are starting to get a little dangerous to where Bubbles is not able to protect the whole group. So they seek out a prominent retired detective by the name of Freerin. And while they're on their way to meet with Freerin, essentially is when we find out who the secondary leader is. Once that happens, they attempt to kill Mau Mau. And then all of a sudden we see what was it? What's the screen called? We see a jump to previous saved progress. So at the end of this first season, we come to realize at the very end that all of this is being written. It's all actually a video game being developed by Sam Samara Young. And that's what I got.
What a twist. What a twist. All right, Andrea, you get to pass it along.
I think...
It's only me and Mitch.
Mitch, you ready?
Nope, Martin.
Okay. I figured I'd give you the courtesy. Yep, Martin.
Oh, Justin's about to say something.
At least he was honest.
Oh, shit.
That's true.
I ain't even gonna talk shit. I've been there before, bro. Come on with the stories are.
Oh, my God. That was funny. All right, let me see if I can get something up for y'all. Really quick.
You came with visuals?
No, this is more for the YouTube people because I'm not reading.
Oh, okay.
But it was also for y'all as well. All right. So my story takes place about 3 months after season 2. If you want to know what happened in season 2, go listen to it. I just wanted to remind people the structure of the school, of the RRGA. Obviously, you know Serena, you know Ichigo. They've been here since season 1. You just see the structure go on the headmaster, then the professors who are in season 2. Now, just to introduce some of the... Oh, and the trader from season 2. To introduce the new people for this season. Yoriichi. She is the growth and development teacher. Obviously, she can get the most potential out of anyone, a la having Ichigo learn Bankai in 3 days when it takes usually like 1,000 years. Chisato, expert marksman. She looked up to Lady Nagant in season 1 until she was a bad guy. So now she is trying to rethink herself. Obviously, just a disclaimer, all of these people look up to Kenshin as well because, you know, he's been the hero this whole show. So don't need to mention him. Soletta, tech wizard in her own right. She looks up to Kira because she wants to be a pilot just like him with her Gundam. Rain with his magical swords. He looks up to Yugi because of his magical abilities. Mirio, he looks up to Jin because of his martial arts abilities. Zenitsu, obviously, he looks up to Ichigo because of his swordsmanship ability, and Yoriichi because of her lightning abilities. Kisei, he is he's the athlete. He's not in any like fighting division or whatnot. He's the pretty boy of the school, model. He thinks all the girls want to be with him. He has a cool ability though that will come in handy. Virgil and Blossom, they're universal exchange students because they are not from this universe. Virgil came over, looks up to Yoriichi because of her lightning as well, and being a person of color in a high position rank in the school, he looked up to her. And Blossom looks up to Yoriichi, looks up to Serena because of being super strong ladies. So just wanted to get that out of the way. All right. Where'd that thing go? So like I said, if you listen to season 2, it was a lot of shit. There was a lot of battlefields. The school got blew up by Frieza and the crew. It's been rebuilding. So the school is like, Yoriichi, take the young people, take them on a field trip. let's go have some fun. So her goal was taking all those kids on a field trip, but it was also to hone their skills if Frieza and them attack again, because they know Frieza's going to come. So you got a lot of slice of life stuff in the beginning. Kisei has a crush on Chisato. Chisato is not messing with Kisei. Zenitsu has a crush on Chisato. And of course, he thinks he can get with Yoruichi. That is not happening. Rain does not care. You know, he's really not into ladies right now. Mirio, just a fun-loving dude. Soletta, you know, she doesn't want people to know that she likes girls because she likes girls. So, you know, she's keeping that under wraps. But she has a crush on one of the girls who is not in this season. And then Blossom and Virgil, they're just here for the ride. They're just here to have some fun. So they're there. Everyone's teasing Kisei about his crush on Chisato. They're just having a good time, having a campfire, things of that nature. Blossom goes to get some fire. She sees there's some nefarious things going on. She sees like a campsite that's not theirs, a whole bunch of people. She's like, who are these people? She reports back to the group. Then Yoruichi comes with her. She tells everyone to stay put. She sees that Frieza mark on their backs. She's like, oh shit. The Frieza crew might be here. But she's like, it's too soon for Frieza to try and attack them. They don't even know they're here. Sorry. And obviously, from last season, Frieza's main objective is to kill Kenshin, get the ultimate weapon, rule the universe, all that jazz. But Kenshin is obviously, he's in the wind. No one knows where he's at. So, Yoruichi trying to really think how she should play this out. Because if it's Frieza and her horsemen, they're going to die. They have no shot. But she realizes there's no Frieza, there's no Akaza, there's no Stain, there's none of those people. She realizes there's someone she's never seen before, but she hears the little foot soldiers calling him Fleet. So she's like, I don't know that one. We're going to see how this goes. And then there's another second in command there named Puppetmon. You could hear Puppetmon. He is like 4'2", and he is just yapping it up, making fun of the foot soldiers. So Yoruichi's trying to plan how they should attack, if they should attack. She realizes that Kisei is not a fighter. He is not built for this shit at all. So she has Chisato be his personal bodyguard. Chisato obviously groans because she knows that Kisei has a crush on her, and she's not reciprocal of that. But she knows she's the best suited to protect him right now. The next day, they don't know that a foot soldier overheard all of this, and they report back to Fleet and Puppetmon, and they're like, oh, this is our chance to maybe move up in the ranks of the Lord Frieza ranks. Maybe we could become one of the four horsemen if we kill a teacher, because if you kill one of the teachers at the RRGA, that's a big deal, because these are some of the strongest people in the universe. So they're like, oh, if we kill Yoruichi, we can get some good cred. So they're all sleeping, the little superstars, and they start getting attacked. They're like, what's going on? It's chaos. It's all the foot soldiers. And Yoruichi comes out. She's like, what are you guys doing? Fleet's like, well, we're here to kill you to get our cred up with Lord Frieza, and we're going to kill the next generation. Obviously, Mirio is just like, oh, that's not going to happen. We're going to beat you guys. Rain, he's super silent. Zenitsu, he's actually hiding behind Rain right now, even though Rain's telling him to buck up. But Zenitsu's like, look at all these people. We've never fought Frieza Force people before. So Fleet, he tells Yorichi to come with him so they could fight one-on-one. She reluctantly goes because she knows if she beats Fleet as the leader of this little group, typically they'll fall. So currently you have all these little kids. She leaves Mirio, Raid, and Chisato in charge of everyone else. So you have all these kids fighting Puppetmon. Obviously, Zenitsu sees how small Puppetmon is, so now his chest starts to pump up. He's just like, oh, this little dude, this ain't nothing. Puppetmon starts controlling all the little henchmen and all that. They make quick work of the henchmen. But then Puppetmon also then takes control of Chisato for a little bit because of his puppet strings. And if you know Chisato, expert marksman. Can shoot, can dodge bullets, all of that stuff. So now they got to fight one of their own. And they got to go through that stuff of, hey, we don't want to hurt one of our own people. So they're trying to fight that. Zenitsu sees her being controlled. He doesn't like that. So then he finally bucks up and he slashes Puppetmon's strings off of Chisato. Puppetmon's like, you cheated. Mirio's telling him, give up. You've lost. Puppetmon's like, I got my trump card. So he touches the ground, presses the button. Out of nowhere, Fuji, their secret weapon, pulls up. And for people who don't know Fuji, he is 18 feet tall. Again, and he is 18 feet tall and 6 inches. They can't do anything with that. So they're all shitting in their pants, wondering how we're going to beat Fuji. Because Yorichi is boxing with Fleet. Chisato tells Soletta she needs to run back to the ship, get one of the communicators, and call Melissa immediately to send Ariel, a.k.a. Soletta's Gundam, to the fray. Because that's the only way they're going to stand a chance. Because they have nothing that can get there except for Soletta's Gundam, because she left it back at the school because she thought it was just a normal field trip. And they're trying to provide cover fire for Soletta so she could run back to the base. They're fighting Fuji. Fuji's not moving. Mirio's trying to punch him. He's trying to do his ability to phase through him, hit him. Not working. Virgil's sapping him with lightning. Not working. Blossom's punching him. Not working. Obviously Chisato's shooting those non-lethal bullets. Not working. So then Rain is looking at Zenitsu saying, we gotta do something. Zenitsu's just like, what? He's like, we're not gonna win until Soletta gets back with Gundam Ariel. But I can summon something pretty big if you give me the cover fire. Zenitsu's like, fine, I'll do it. Zenitsu, lock it in, remembering his training with Yorichi. He's trying to slice and dice Fuji at the legs. It's not doing much, but it's annoying him. So it's getting the attention on Zenitsu away from Rain. Rain, sitting there quiet, because for people who don't know from last season, Melissa was the first valedictorian from the school to graduate. The next person to become the valedictorian is Rain, because he finally unlocks his special ability of getting his third mark, if you watch MASH, the third mark of his ability. So then he is able to summon Ares, the god of war, through his wand and his weapons. So everyone's just like, ooh, this is great. So he's holding off Fuji until Soletta gets in contact with Melissa saying, hey, I need you to drop Ariel into our field location now. And Melissa's like, do I even want to know? Soletta's like, no, just drop it off. Melissa sends Ariel to the crew. Suletta gets an aerial. Now they finally have a fighting shot. She's fighting toe-to-toe with Fuji. Aries is still holding with Fuji. All the other kids are like, while they're fighting Fuji, let's get Puppetmon. Puppetmon's running away because he's just like, I can run away. I'll meet up with Flet because Flet's probably fighting Yoruichi. So now the Yoruichi Flet fight, Yoruichi knows she has the speed advantage because she's the fastest. But Flet's ability to just auto-reflect everything and then send it back at her is causing her a lot of problems. Obviously, she doesn't know what's going on. She sees Fuji over there fighting the Gundam Ariel and now Aries. So she's like, I need to get over there. I need to help my students. If I don't help my students, they're going to die. She can't get past Flet's defense. And Flet keeps berating her, saying that you must be the weakest of the teachers. Why would they send the weakest of the teachers to protect these kids, to teach these kids, to train these kids? And she was just like, oh, you don't know anything about me. Before I was a teacher, I was a master assassin. I'm the fastest. And I'm the best user of lightning in this universe. So she powers up. She changes into her little lightning mode. So she has lightning all over her body. So that now she is way too fast for Flet's reflectability, and it's too strong. So it's starting to crack. Flet realizes he's about to lose, so he tries to reflect all of the hits he's taken back to Yoruichi. Big explosion happens. He's laughing. He thinks he's finally got her. And he's walking back. Oh, I'm going to go meet with Fuji and Puppetmon. She hears a quiet, and he sees a little cat on the ground. He's just like, oh, look at this little cat. So cute, so fluffy. I might take it back with me. And then the cat says, well, if you take me back with you, you're probably not going to like the result. He realizes that Yoruichi switched to a cat right before the blast, so she was able to dodge it. Takes him by surprise, doesn't kill him, knocks him out. So then she's trying to get back to Fuji and them. Puppetmon being chased by the other kids. They realize that Puppetmon's kind of a coward, and he doesn't like it when people have friends. So they start using their teamwork. Zenetsu's cutting off all of his strings so he can't control anyone. Mario is hitting him. Mario and Blossom decking this dude. Virgil blasting him with lightning. And then Chisato ready to take the shot because Chisato, obviously, she's a big fan of Kenshin. And, Kenshin's really not a killer anymore. But they convince her that Puppetmon is not human. So it is okay to shoot him. So she switches to lethal round, shoots Puppetmon right through the back 3 times, and then he dies. So then they're all heading back to fight with Fuji because even though Ariel and Aries are holding him down, it's still not enough. The dude is 18 feet tall. So Yoruichi makes it back. She tells everyone where to hit him. They said just because he's that tall doesn't mean he doesn't have pressure points. So everyone attacked the pressure points. Yoruichi comes, does her Shimpo, finishes off Fuji. Fuji and Fleet get arrested, get sent back to the jail. Kids have their first big victory over the Freezer Force. But Yoruichi's puzzled, wondering why they were on this island in the first place. And it deems that they have to be looking for something. So she's going to go back to the jail to question what Fleet was looking for. And then that will continue on next year. All right. Mitch, you're up, man.
Alrighty. So, all right. My show is a eight part miniseries by developed by Bandai Namco, and it starts off at the initiation at Grand Zeno's palace of Topo to become the god of destruction officially of Universe 11, and Jiren is in attendance at Zeno's request because he thinks he looks funny and hasn't seen him since the Tournament of Power. And as the ceremony is in process, though, Zeno gets bored of it and decides to give Topo an impromptu task so that the ceremony can wrap up. Since he already knows that he is powerful because of the Tournament of Power, he will test Zeno, his adversity, and tells him that he needs to create a comedy show for him to entertain him this time. With a stone face, even more gray than Jiren's, Topo struggles to think of how to please the Omni King until Jiren suggests to Zeno that they be given some time to come up with an act together. Zeno allows this and grants them a day to figure out the show. Topo is grateful for Jiren's suggestion of a window of time and decides that maybe Goku could assist, since he's a quote interesting character and Zeno seems to like him. So they make their way to Universe 11 and they're teleported by their angel, Margarita, who's well, the Universe 11 angel, to Beerus's planet. Margarita and Whis, though, catch up, and Topo and Jiren then go in search of Goku. And so they take their ship through the space of Universe 7 and end up finding Sir Warp, in case you're aware of Daima, who questions them and states that they're not allowed to pass. Not knowing how Universe 7 works, though, they believe this will be the path to find Goku, and Jiren demonstrates his power to coerce Sir Warp to allow them to the demon world unknowingly. They figure out quick once they're at the demon world that they made a wrong turn and don't have enough time to find Goku. Um, so they reach a station to fill their ship up to head back and just accept their inevitable failure at the task before them. However, they stumble upon Hypus and Neva. Um, Hypus looks at the two and jokes about how Topo looks like Dr. Eggman from Sonic and how Jiren looks like an eraser that was thrown away. This causes Jiren to go into a rage at this insult, uh, but Neva laughs at the comment that he made, and then Topo realizes that Hypus might be funny enough to help them out with this task. So um, Topo recruits both of them, and they agree because the demon realm, quote, smells, and they like to see a new place every once in a while. So they make their way back to Grand Zeno's palace, and they start brainstorming really quick on how to uh, create the comedy show for Zeno. And Hypus starts telling Topo and Jiren about his favorite shows that he has watched throughout his time in the demon realm, and he brings up um, characters like Big Cloud and Bugs Bunny and Edamon, and then Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and and um, and they, as they're discussing this, they bring this forth to Zeno, and Zeno decides at that moment that instead of them telling the story, he's going to use his power to make their stories a reality. So then, at Zeno's wish and at their suggestions, these characters appear in front of Zeno, and they're curious as to why they've been pulled into this universe, not exactly understanding why they're there, and um, didn't work out this part of the story in terms of the shenanigans in which all of the characters would perform. Um, However, Zeno would be pleased by the comedy acts that has been put before him, and um, and then he allows Topo to pass and become the god of destruction of Universe 11. And then at that moment, Zeno erases all of these characters from existence, and essentially just kills them. And and then after this, that is where my story ended. The little mini series of Zeno's entertainment for a comedy show. There you go.
Good job, man.
I realized I was not good at writing jokes, so I'm not a good comedy writer. I thought it'd be a good idea. I realized I sucked, but that was the gist.
Good job. Good job. Byron, what'd you think of everyone's stuff?
I liked all the stories. I would watch them if they were real animes.
Andrea, as someone who is born and raised in Texas, would they accept the culture Justin was bringing?
That was an interesting story to listen to, and I think he's pretty spot on for the small town adaptation. I mean, technically speaking, it's not Japanese culture everywhere, but there's hardly a weekend here in San Antonio that there's not some sort of like pop-up little anime or K-pop or whatever outside cultural event, pop cultural event. So I don't think it's off base at all. It would be more of a struggle for sure in the smaller towns.
Cedric, as the anime expert, what'd you think of everyone's stuff?
I liked it a lot. I love the vast different aspects of different stories, especially like the continuations. I did try to watch while I was getting my oil changed today, or listen to some of the season 1, season 2 stuff. And so it was really nice to see like the ability to connect stories too. Because I mean, honestly, I was sitting here thinking before, like while writing mine and watching different, it was like making this stuff is actually really hard, especially trying to like incorporate and make sure everyone kind of gets their say in their piece.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that everyone did an amazing job with it.
Andrea, anything you want to say about everyone's stuff?
I mean, obviously it was all entertaining. I think there's more variety in kind of what happened through a lot of the different stories this year, which I found really interesting and really enjoyed.
Justin?
Yeah, man, coming up with stories is hard. So, shouts to all of us for bunkering down and getting this done.
And Mitch, anything you want to say before we close it up?
Congratulations to all of y'all for your incredible stories. I will have to tune in to miss these stories prior to Cedric's, Justin, Nikki's. I assume, though, that they're great because your guys' stories have always been great. And great job, everyone, for another fantastic season.
Perfect. With that being said, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the live stream. Byron, why'd you thumbs down?
I didn't. I clicked the audio button and it
Bro.
went.
I thought you thumbs down what I said there.
Me
I was
too. I was
real,
like, dang, Byron.
real dick move, Cap.
That was Zoom being dumb. That wasn't me.
Oh my god. Well, thank you everyone for watching another live stream from the L7C podcast. We'll be back for the last one of the year to close it out next week. Oh, thank you, Cedric.
I got you.
And then we'll be back, but once again, Byron again? Oh, that was Aunt Mitch's. Okay.
I didn't know you can do this.
I know, right?
Oh,
We do
Lord.
this in
It's not gonna
my
be
work
this so
meetings
great.
all the time. The work, oh, you say anything good? Clapping. Everybody's clapping.